Hi, this is Anatole, and I'm giving my brief review on Batman the Animated Series, The Forgotten. First aired October 8th, 1992, a score of 7.4 on IMDb. Now, I know that it's a bit controversial to say I didn't like the episode. I know this because as part of my research, I looked at the review that someone posted on YouTube for this episode, and he was also critical, and a lot of my criticisms are going to echo what he said, and he got a lot of negative replies. So I know that there are many people who enjoyed this episode. The problems I had with the episode are it didn't seem to know what it wanted to be. On one hand, it seemed that it wanted to be a sort of prison break episode or slave colony escape episode, and for that we got Batman suffering amnesia and trying to break out of a slave camp. And then on the other, it seemed to want to also be an exploration of the Bruce Wayne character. And one of the best sequences in the episode, for me, was the dream sequence, where it seemed to be that Bruce Wayne has more in common with the Joker than he wants to admit when he sees the Joker in his own reflection in the mirror. And then there is also the fear that Batman has, that for all of Bruce Wayne's wealth, he's impotent to have any sort of effect with all that money of his. But all that seemed to be forgotten and didn't have any effect on the rest of the episode. And then the second thing that I had difficulty with was it was a really weak villain, and it just didn't seem to be anyone that really threatened Batman. The only reason he had any sort of leverage on Batman was because they engineered this weak amnesia. By that I mean just sort of seemed to exist in order to move the story forward. And every scene we see this villain, he's waving a mutton chop in his hand, and I don't believe anyone really could see this villain and legitimately feel that he was going to be the one to bring down the Batman. And then the third thing that I really didn't like about the episode was everyone seemed to be a little bit out of character. So Bruce Wayne is captured not because it's part of his plan, like in an earlier episode, but because he's distracted by a cat. And Alfred plays the sort of Winnie when he gets into the Batwing and plays the crazy butler in the airplane. And then finally, the last problem I had with it seemed to use the idea of homelessness as just sort of a mere story device. And after Bruce Wayne begins to investigate the disappearance of these homeless people, it's not part of the plot anymore. I can think of two different examples that used homelessness much more effectively. One was by the writer Mike Barr, and it's either Batman 306 or 606. I have the feeling it was 306. It was in the 70s, where the whole mystery revolves around someone who's trying to kill the homeless, and you can't have that story without the homeless being part of it. And then the second one is during Grant Morrison's run on the Batman, where the Batman gets amnesia and becomes a homeless person. Both of those, the idea of the homeless felt more like it was the crux of the whole plot. So all told, another disappointing episode. There have been a few really good, really strong ones, but I have heard that they do get better. Not in the near future, but at one point they will begin to hit their stride. And part of the problem is because I'm watching it on DC Universe, the way they were ordered has to do with production order, not necessarily the way that they were aired. And I think when they did air, because I do remember watching it during the first season, there were a lot more stronger episodes. I think they found a good balance between the strong and the weak episodes. But here, we're just getting them as they were put into production. And as the other commentator, and I will put a link into that review that I read of his, noted, they were still trying to find their voice on the Batman, and you can really see it in this episode, at least for me. So anyway, that's my brief review of the episode The Forgotten. let me know what you thought about the episode. I have a feeling there will be more who like it than I did. Although that score of 7.4, 7.6 on IMDb, that's a weak episode. So that tells me I'm not the only one that has these ideas, these thoughts about this episode. And anyway, until next time, take care and be well.